to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, welcome to New Life Live. So glad that you are with us today. And when I say us, I'm talking about Dr. Jill Hubbard, Dr. Dave Stoop, 4th of July. Oh my goodness. Happy birthday, America.
Happy Independence Day.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys mute that there. And here's the thing. One day Amelia was sitting around and she just came out with this. America, where beans grow. Now, we have no idea
where
that
grow?
came from. Where beans grow.
Oh, my gosh.
But anyway, it is great.
Never
We
know,
honor
Amelia.
beans being grown in America. Anyway, pretty exciting. And glad you're with us. Hope you stay safe. I never do, but we hope you will here on July 4th. And I want to tell you something. A lot of people died. And we are free because of it. And it's a little bit sickening when people kind of forget the sacrifice that went in to so many people giving up so much for the freedom that is taken for granted by so many other people. And thank you, every family that has experienced suffering because somebody in your family died or fought so that we could enjoy the luxury of all of the freedoms that we have, even the freedom for idiots to say things that are so disrespectful of this amazing, fabulous country.
Right.
And I tell you, I just, it blows me away and at how fantastic we are. People in other countries, when they hear you're from this country, they consider us to be lottery of life winners.
Right.
It's a big deal. And I just pray that you won't ever take it for granted.
Well, and Steve, it's like when you're not hungry, you don't know what it's like to be starving. And so, in being free, they don't know what it's like to not be free. And so people do become complacent.
Yes.
Right? They habituate to that norm, and then they start, complaining about every little thing.
And
instead of being grateful.
Please don't threaten to leave the country because you don't like something. Leave.
Or leave, yeah.
Just don't threaten it.
Yeah, don't threaten. Just
follow
like
through.
It,
be a person of your word here, and just go ahead and leave. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so I probably got myself in trouble there, but I just am so thankful for so many people who've given so much so that we can live in this amazing country in which we live. Now, let's go, speaking of freedom, let's go talk to some folks, and maybe we can help them experience a different level of freedom. Let's go to Sherry, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hi, Sherry. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you so much for taking my call. So my situation is my husband was put into hospice 2 days ago, and he has idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, which is a very devastating disease because it just hardens your lungs till you can't breathe anymore. And there's nothing that they can do, no medicine, no nothing.
Wow.
So my heart is broken over that.
Yeah.
But I'm also mourning him while he's here. And I don't even know how to get over a broken heart that I don't even have yet.
Yeah, okay. All right, we're going to help you with that. So I'm glad you called. You hold on. You're listening to New Life Live, and we're really glad that you tuned in today. And we'll be back right after this.
My wife asked me for the first time in 2011 if I would consider myself a sex addict, so I signed up. I'd read the Every Man's Battle book, and it was a great book, but the workshop, it was the experience that really was key for me. If they go to EMB, they're going to be in good hands. This is a safe place. They're going to be surrounded by men that simply walk the talk. The weekend leaders that they will go through this workshop with, they'll help them to get to the root of their issues. I've been through a number of well-preached sermons, listened to and read countless books, been to a number of seminars, but EMB for me was a game changer. It truly saved my life. Being in this community, being in this workshop, being around these men will change them if they'll let them. You're going to encounter men that will meet you where you're at, and you will instantly walk into a safe place where they're welcome.
If you're struggling, call us. We don't want you to go on struggling. Just give us a call. It's 1-800-639-5433. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and we are talking with Sherry about the heartbreak of a husband who's in hospice, and she's grieving, and he's still here, and it's hard. It's always hard. So we want to give you some help here, and the good news is that you have someone that you're brokenhearted over losing, versus so often, we hear of folks that, the man he's not an honorable man, and, it's just mixed emotions over the death. And so I'm really glad that you're able to have a man that you're going to miss and you're already grieving over. And it is a dilemma when a person is still alive and yet the future and you're grieving. It seems like it's untimely, but it's
Sherry,
appropriate.
Yeah, I think it is appropriate, and a lot of people try to deny those feelings and feel like they have to constantly put on a happy face. But your husband is going through a lot too. He knows he's on his way out, and to be able to grieve some with him, I think, is a wonderful thing, and to just be real about the process. And there's, there's different, we know there's different stages of grief, but there's different stages to processing the grief. And so right now you're doing it with him. It'll be a little different once he's gone, right? Yeah. It'll be a different feeling. But
he is a believer. He is a believer. Okay. I know where he's going.
Yep, great.
He has peace. But I'm a mess, and so I'm not being a very good support to him. But I keep thinking, I keep asking him, how do I miss you? I mean, how do I just, if I want to hold your hand and I can't, and, I'm just like heartbroken, and, it's just like, I don't know.
It's so painful.
It's just so many crazy thoughts that I go through.
Well, I hope.
But I would say this, that every time you talk with him about those feelings of missing him and the future, it really is honoring him, and he's got to feel really good about the fact that it's difficult for you, rather than kind of a relief that he's out of the picture, which should be something we'd hear about too. So,
and Sherry, grief has two facets to it. It has the anger as a protest, and the sadness as a resignation. And one of the things that's hard for a woman to do is to do the protest. And you can protest against God. Job certainly showed us that that's something that's acceptable. You can do it against the doctors, against the life forces. You just
or aging
protest.
Or
and our vulnerability.
Disease.
But don't neglect that part, because your tendency will be to get lost in the sadness, and you need to do both.
Right, and I hear you trying to lean on him and almost asking him for his help of how to deal with his absence, right? And he isn't going to have all those answers for you. But while he's there, I mean, it's okay to voice that, but while he's there, hold his hand, right?
Yeah.
Hold his hand.
I do.
And stop and remember what it feels like. Like, take mental pictures of holding his hand and being with him and, studying his face and all those things, because there can also be a tendency to be so sad about the changes that have taken place in him that you don't recognize the essence of who he is. And I'm not saying you're doing that, but
just guard against that.
Yeah, to be grateful for who he is.
Because it's funny you should say that because I actually have been doing that.
Okay.
And and he's housebound and he's on oxygen 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to do awesome things for us, like just slow dance or something goofy, to make us, like remember, like for me to remember this part of our life that is not the greatest, but I think it's the most precious part because I'm losing them,
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you get to be with him as he transitions, right? You don't get to walk the whole journey with him, but you're going as far as you can go. Right?
And it's a privilege to share that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for taking my call. I know that no one has the answers but the Lord, and we're just trying to keep in God's will.
Well, God says that He'll wipe away every tear.
Mm-hmm.
We often wish that it said He would prevent every tear, but it doesn't. And so in the absence of the prevention of tears, you just be whoever you are with this man, and you let him know the grief is not easy.
No.
The struggle is not easy because of who he is and those sweet, sweet times of dancing and other things that you have. And I'll just guarantee you it will ring so true into his heart. He may not even be able to express how much it means to him that his wife is having a hard time thinking about life without him. So I'm really, really glad from that perspective that it is tough on both of you. And I'm gonna send you a copy of 100 Days of Peace. I hope that'll be a blessing to you. I think it will be some great things there for both of you to read together. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE. Let's go to, how about we talk with Nicole, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Hello, Nicole. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. How can we help you today? What's going on?
Sorry, I'm trying to collect myself after that last caller.
I know.
So about 4 years ago, I discovered that my husband was not only addicted to pornography, but that he had also had a physical affair. And in that time since, the Lord has brought us through amazing restoration. Our marriage right now is thriving. We're in a really good place. He's definitely turned back to the Lord, and he's done a lot of really good things to step away from the addiction to pornography, and we're just in a great place.
Good.
However, one thing that I was waiting to happen for him to do hasn't happened yet, and that is that he's never confided and told his parents or even his sister, all of which he's very close to, and I'm also very close to. So they still don't know that whole part of our history.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know if
why do you think that they need to know?
Well, we share so much of our lives with them.
Mm-hmm.
We have deep conversations. Often, his sister's my best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and just I feel like we're not able to share that huge part of our life with them. I worry that he's trapped in shame with that, and I know that they
keeping
would,
up an image.
if they would respond with,
When you bring that up with him, how does he respond?
Well, in the beginning, when I asked him, I didn't push him too hard to do that because he was already doing all these other things. And he kind of just, he responded, and I don't know what they'd say. I think it really was just, maybe I'll tell them. But I could see the shame. I can hear it in his voice. I haven't brought it up much definitely not lately, and it's just been something on my mind. I know that I just feel that I wonder if he would be able to overcome some of that shame if he was able to tell the people who love him the most, whom I know would respond in grace and forgiveness.
The closer,
I just don't know if it's fair of me to ask.
The closer that you can draw to him and eliminate shame, the more likely he would share it.
And I do think you're right in that it would be kind of a next level of his healing, since he has such a supportive family and you all are very close. That level of family support and also accountability is helpful so that he can be who he is before them and experience that love and grace in spite of his actions, right?
Yeah.
Instead of earning it through performance.
I wonder if they don't already suspect something like that happened a while back before the turnaround. Yeah. And I think it's time to bring it up with your husband again in the sense of, just like you brought it up with us, that it's the next stage of healing.
But I would do it from this perspective. I would be kind of encouraging, saying, do you ever think about maybe the next level of healing would come for you by sharing it with them, and then try to just understand and connect with him on any reasons that he might give you for not wanting to share.
Yeah.
And I don't think it is necessary for him to share, for him to experience healing. There are certain things that are between a husband and a wife for whatever reason. And that's, that's maybe he just believes this. There's just no reason for him to get into that and to do that for whatever reason. But, try to, don't criticize him for whatever reason. Try to connect with it and understand it. And then that can eliminate a little bit of shame over why he wouldn't. And then maybe that draws him even closer to sharing with them. The other thing is to say to him, she is my best friend, and it's a little bit difficult. I have to be very cautious. I would never, ever reveal that. Just wondering what your thinking is there.
And he's told me, you can just tell her. And I tell him, I said, I just can't, that's not my place. It's something I want you to do when you're ready. But he continuously tells me, just tell her.
Well, there's a different angle here.
You do it for me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's scared to tell them.
there is a willingness for them to know, and for whatever reason, he is definitely not happy, not at ease with doing it. But I'm glad that he has said at least that to you, that you could be the one to do it. So
he's open to other people, just not them.
Yeah, but he's open to them knowing it, and not having the big secret. So that's a good thing.
But without him telling.
Right. So exploring his fear in that.
Well, there's the evidence of the shame that he's still struggling with.
Yeah. All right. So
but
glad that you called. Go ahead, Dave.
The other thing, Nicole, is there's shame, but there's also victory. And you need to balance, when you talk about it, you need to balance the fact that there's still some shame there, but there's also a great victory because of what's happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Amen.
And based on what you said, I would be saying to him, I think it's so great you're willing for them to know. I'm just wondering why you wouldn't want to share with her or them. And is it shame? And, honey, you've done so much. There's no reason for you to be, drowning in shame here. You've really done some great things here, and you haven't let our whole lives sink because of this problem. So that kind of talk could be pretty valuable to him. I'm glad you called, and let me send you Dave's book, Forgiving What You'll Never Forget. I think both of you looking at that, he might be able to make some great strides in forgiving himself. You know, the Lord really did send Jesus, who's been around from the very beginning, to reconcile all things to himself. And it doesn't matter what you've done, the acceptance of Christ is that great accepting of what Jesus did to reconcile all things, and what God did through Jesus, reconciling all things to himself. No need for shame. No need to continue to pay for what Jesus paid such an amazing price for. We'll be back right after this.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Dallas, Texas, July 19th to the 21st. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Really glad you're with us here today on New Life. Dr. Jill Hubbard, Dr. Dave Stoop, Larry Sonnenberg has joined us in the studio to bring us up to date here on this matching gift and how you could help us help others. Larry.
Well, on 4th of July and Freedom, I want to read you a little testimony that talks about that real quick, and then we'll talk about, and this will tell you why you want to support us. Briefly, New Life Ministries, all of you have seen me through, instructed me through, coached, encouraged, counseled, led, loved me through nightmarish experiences I would never dreamt Christians were dealt in this life. Even more than the daily doses of practical solutions delivered in gently loving, respectful grace from your radio program, the resources you create, provide have helped to not only save this life, but more than a saved life, I can now see much evidence rippling out. Today is the direct result of every one of you answering, being called out to take up the mission. I live a free woman, in love for the very first time of my life with the Lord and my Savior, Christ Jesus. Wow. So, life saved, she's free, she's in love with Christ. What could be better to support, and what's a better reason for me to come to the mic and say, would you please support this ministry? And your support today will be doubled. You know, you make whatever gift you make, I can pretty safely say, because we've probably got about $150,000 to $60,000 to go, since this is a recorded program, on the match. But we could use your help. If you'll make a gift any size, we've had gifts vary from $25,000 to $5 and $10, and everything in between. No matter what size you give, we just pray that it comes from your heart. God doesn't measure the size; He measures your heart, the sacrifice with which you want to give. So please help us. It makes a difference. It means more people like this lady can find what it means to be free and what it means to have a life saved. So
you know what I've never heard anybody say about New Life? Man, I can't believe the way they waste that money.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't happen.
If they do, I quit.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you can be sure that we're doing the best we can with whatever it is that you give. So please help us in whatever way that you can. We really are good stewards of it, and it goes to transform people's lives. Transformation, not feel better, not get over the hump. It's transformation. That's what we're here for. You call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Any gift of any amount will send you this great book by Dr. John Townsend, People Fuel. It's a good one, so you call us and we'll send it to you.
Anything
else you want to add,
The only
Larry?
last thing is thank you 1,000 times over for everybody who has given and everybody who's going to give. Deeply, deeply appreciated.
That's right. And 1,000 times over reminds me of how many people 1,000 times over, generations to come, are impacted when one family makes that transformation, because you have supported us and we've been able to reach them. So please call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thank you, Larry.
All righty.
Appreciate it. All right, let's go back to the phones. How about we talk to Mike, Pueblo, Colorado. Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. What's going on?
I was calling with a question
Okay.
for some help. I'm in a blended marriage. My second, I am her fourth. 6 kids together and a grandchild, and we're all living in the house together. Where my kids have since moved back with their mom. I'm the only one working, and I'm struggling. We don't have any time. I feel like she doesn't want to give us any time together. I guess I have a lot of anger and resentment towards her kids, and I'm trying to deal with that. And because they'll call and she'll jump, I'll call and I'll get put on hold, and I'm just tired and worn out, and just trying to find some help.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think the statistics, you're not going to like this, but I think the statistics would say that most blended families aren't a very good idea.
Yeah.
And it takes some really amazing insight and sacrifice to make them a good idea. And you're going to have to give her grace in responding to her kids and realizing you're not one of her kids. And it's just something, the battle is only won inside of you when you let go of some expectations that she's just not able to live up to because they're her kids. If I was talking with her, I would be saying, please understand that all of us have needs, all of us want attention, and when you treat a husband over time as if he's nothing compared to the kids, it wears on him. It takes a toll. And so if you could go from kind of treating him like he means nothing to he is something, well, then that's a great improvement. But it's tough. It's tricky. It's hard to do.
And it's hard to say, defending yourself.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to really err on the side of a lot of grace here for her and you're going to have to grieve some stuff that you never dreamed you'd have to grieve over, but it is all part of that blended package. And oh man, I wish we could have talked with you before. We could have helped you with some expectations. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You are a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
Last year, after Every Man's Battle, I was so moved by the transformation that I saw not only in myself, but in the guys in our small group and the other people that were there and the stories that I heard, that I decided to go ahead and join Club New Life as a contributor to that.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
You guys are doing God's work here. You're restoring marriages. You're giving people hope. It's just been such a blessing to me, and I just wanted to encourage you all. When you see something good that God's doing, just jump on that and help support that.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433.
Give your support to them if you can, and just help them do what God's doing here in the world.
Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. Glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. We've been talking about this very, very tough situation at the break here. Dave, you want to start us, and then Jill, the thoughts that we've been talking about at the break.
So,
Dave, you want to start?
Dave, do you want to? Okay.
Well, one of the things you got to do, Mike, is you got to become her advocate with her kids and enter the world with her kids, because that's the avenue to her heart. And if you don't do that, if you have resentment towards the kids, even the little bit, she can pick up on that, and that just separates you. So somehow you got to enter into her world, and be supportive of her, and be supportive of her kids before you even think about getting some recognition as a husband.
Right. Yeah, and the tendency is to want to somehow kind of draw her away and get her to spend time with you. And you have to remember the kids came first, right? And so unless you enter into her world, show interest in what interests her, right? I mean, that you're right, Dave. That is the way to a woman's heart. You love and value her kids and come alongside her. So instead of competing with the kids, you're on her team in helping the kids. That will make you so much more attractive to her that then eventually she'll want to be spending some time with you.
And I bet that one of the things she felt you were going to be able to do before you got married was that you were going to enter into her world like that. And then that hasn't happened, and she's just not that interested. So the way to get her interest is to enter her world.
Right, because if you're not interested at all in her world, then it's all on her shoulders. So she's got to really work hard to maintain it. Right? And she's being pulled in two directions instead of you trying to be part of the unifying.
And I'm really glad you called. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I feel like I've tried that and I've done that, and then I feel I get pushed away more often than not if I have an idea or they come to me for help or something. And you know, it's oh well, then my stuff is different. I'm Christian believer and try to do the biblical side of it, and they don't like that side, and then I get pushed away that way because I'm too religious or.
So what did you guys talk about before you got married when it came to the kids? How was that supposed to go?
I guess it was a lot easier then too. Kids were younger and weren't as involved and active. The older kids one of the older kids was out of the house. She has since moved back with the granddaughter. And she's been with us for the past 5 years.
And so is there any way that you guys could get some counseling? Would she be willing to do that? I mean, talk about a need for a third party in here.
So last year, I found a Christian counselor in town, and we started going, and again, it was too religious, too biblical, and she quit going. I kept going for a while, and then I said we need to find something, and so we just started up. He's a non-Christian counselor now. Just started with him.
So you're a Christian and you married a woman. You married a woman that's not a Christian, but you're a Christian.
Well, when we were together, we were going to church together, and I thought things were different, and then I got a few years into the marriage, and so now it's different.
Oh, it's so sad.
I know.
I'm so sad.
Yeah, it's hard when you think you're on the same page, and then you're not.
Yeah, and we'd go to church all together. We'd go to different Bible studies and doing good, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if I didn't try pushing it. I thought she was coming along with it or coming with me to church, to the Bible studies and stuff, and then that just stopped.
Well, that's rough.
Yeah. So, Mike, it's one of those situations where instead of maybe trying to give the certain answers, the Christian answers, it's more like being Jesus to her and loving her and asking more questions than giving input, right? Really trying to understand where she's coming from and being very relational with her. And so that maybe you can open up some discussion about, help me understand why certain responses I give to you, you push away. You say they're too religious. What does that mean, right? Because that's, okay, too religious, okay. How is she experiencing that with you? And that what you really are trying to do is you want to connect with her, not push her away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah. So you have to have kind of those conversations. And so it's about, if you really try to connect and understand versus giving her a Christian perspective. It's a different inroad.
Even though you'd think, what you're doing would make perfect sense, you have to kind of do the opposite of what makes perfect sense in these really, really tough situations. And I'm so sorry you're having to deal with this, but oh my goodness, it's kind of the only hope is that you become the adult in the room there. You got to do it. Nobody's going to do it for you, and it's not easy. It's not pain-free. I'm really, really sorry for what you're going through, but
and I sorry, Steve. I also wonder, what's her pattern? She's been married 4 times. So what starts to happen in her relationships where she starts to pull away? What changes? Is this similar to what's happened in previous marriages? And to even maybe talk to her about that, because you don't want to be another casualty. You're in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
Right? So how can we do it differently than it's been done before? For you too, in your first relationship. To look at that. Let's try to do it different. Right? Because otherwise you fall into the same pattern, and she may be falling into her pattern.
And I'm tired of falling into that pattern, and I thought I was doing better and trying harder or different, and I don't know, it feels
Well, trying different is better. Is far more effective than trying harder.
Trying different is better than trying harder.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I keep thinking of the phrase, to seek to understand, and in terms of her kids and in terms of herself, which means that you ask some questions rather than give answers.
Yeah. Get behind her eyes. See how she sees the world.
Yeah.
That'll have more mileage.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm so sorry
Yeah.
for what you're experiencing. I wish it were different. Really do. But I pray God will use this, you're humbly seeking wisdom here, and I hope that will be honored and something good can come just from this phone call itself. And so I'm glad you called. I'm going to send you a copy of Smart Love. I hope that's going to be of help to you. And right along with it, Mylon and Kay's book, How We Love. I think that's going to be really good too. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEW-LIFE is the number to call, or you can go to the website newlife.com. Let's go to Cindy, Little Rock, Arkansas. Hi, Cindy. How are you?
Good. Thank you for
What's
your
going
ministry.
on? Well, thank you.
I'm at a crossroads in my life. I'm 58 years old and
All right.
3 adult children. Divorced 16 years. Started having seizures about 10 years ago. Was diagnosed with epilepsy. Ended up at the Cleveland Clinic and had surgery, which was very successful. And I moved to be closer to my elderly aging parents. My father passed away a year ago. I helped my mom transition into assisted living, and now I'm getting flack. I have an offer on her house, and one family member doesn't want to sell the house. The other says, I need to sell it, get it sold. I'm the executor, and I need to move on with my life. And I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
Okay. So, what's the question for us then?
First time in my life, well, I've been thinking about the John Townsend Institute. I've always had a passion for your ministry, but I feel old. I feel like I don't need to spend that money. And then I have a son in Washington State that wants me to co-sign on his first home. I have a son that just graduated college with a geology physics degree, so he's well capable of taking care of himself, but he would like for his mom to be closer to him geographically. And then I have a daughter in New York, and she pulls at me a lot because she's in a very bad relationship that won't get out of it. And I just...
My wife had found me out through my past and my sexual addiction since I was a small child. It really gave me the opportunity to start digging into my past, start digging into my childhood, figure out what was causing me to feel the way I was feeling. Every Man's Battle will really give you that opportunity because all the guys there in that room are there for the exact same reason you're there. I don't want to be the reason that my kids are going to counseling. I don't want to be the reason that they begin to struggle with the same issues that I'm struggling with, and I've got to put an end to this. Yes, you can be different. God does love you. You can be forgiven for this, and there's a way out of this. But you have to acknowledge that you have to change, and that there's a problem.
If you're struggling, call us. There are people on the other end of the line who want to hear from you, who want to help you. We don't want you to hand down something to another generation that just looks like pain and destruction. You can hand down redemption. But you got to take that first step. Just give us a call. It's 1-800-639-5433. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to
fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, Steve Arterburn here, and we're just talking with Cindy right now. Cindy, you are 58, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So my thought is time for you to be a little more selfish and do some things for you, not be controlled and manipulated by other folks. At 58, you will be right on schedule for the Townsend Institute. You'll love it. You'll grow from it. It'll be fulfilling to have those kind of connections. You won't be the youngest one in the class, I can guarantee you.
You won't be the oldest one either.
Right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the oldest. That's what I meant.
Yeah, that's what you meant, right?
I just got confused. And yeah, you won't be the oldest or the youngest, and you'll love that, and it'll give you.
And it doesn't last forever, right?
And if it takes you 2 years to finish it, you'll still. I mean, whether you finish it or not, in 2 years you'll still be 60. So I'd rather be 60, having completed the Townsend Institute, than not. That's what I think.
You know, Cindy, when you talk about going and living near your one of your children, it's like the child is saying, "Come and die with me. I want you to spend your last days with me." It's like you got a lot of life ahead of you, and
it's not time for that yet.
I'm sure that's not their intention, but that's the way it felt when you were describing it, and you need to be working on your growth and your desires and your needs, and you can always visit them.
Right, you can still be there for them, just not 24/7, right?
Yeah.
And it's wonderful that they want you, right? That they're seeking you out, but
provide a place for him to live is while he's in a transition, because he's going to go. He wants to take a year off and then go back and get his master's. And so he kind of wants an in-between place, and he's the one I raised primarily by myself. His dad left when he was 6, so I'm very close to him. And I know he doesn't feel like he has a home base right now, and that does bother me.
How old is he?
He's 22.
Okay, yeah.
But, you know, the reality is a lot of people want to do things that, for whatever reason, at that particular time, just not possible right then. And what he wants to do may not be possible. So for you to uproot your life and your plans at this age so that you can turn his impossibility into this, I just don't know that that's the right thing for him or you.
I like that advice, because I think that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to appease my kids, even though they're adults, when I need to be taking care of me. Now, I do need to move because my mom's house is probably selling. I accepted an offer, but then my mom's vacillating, saying, well, maybe I should just stay at the house. And I'm thinking, well, that makes me stay at the house, and I don't want to stay.
There you go. No, that's right. So you've got to do, it's not selfish to make good later life decisions, middle life decisions for you, and not take everybody else into consideration. And in the long run,
or at least to consider you in the mix. Like,
yeah, really.
Right? Instead of putting your life on hold for everybody else's life.
You know, Cindy, I often try to redefine selfish as a positive term, because if I'm not selfish, I go around trying to pour water into somebody's cup from an empty pitcher, because I don't take the time to refill my own pitcher.
That's good.
And I make a distinction between selfish as being a positive thing that restores me, and self-centeredness, which is the negative side of where I don't care about anybody else. All I care about is me. You care about your kids, but you also need to care about you.
I love that analogy because I think it's time for me to get my cup filled up. That's right.
Yeah. Get your pitcher filled.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and at 22, it's not unreasonable for him to live with roommates, and multiple roommates so that they can afford it.
That's right. Yep. So,
right.
Hope we've helped you here, and I'm going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back, because you're taking your life back. You just need some encouragement to keep taking it back. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go over here to Jim, Columbia, South Carolina. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's going on?
Happy 4th of July to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the quick question is, my wife divorced me more than 6 years ago, and I've since met somebody else, and I would like to know if you think I could get God's blessing if I got remarried, or if I'm still somehow tied.
Mm-hmm. What's going on with her? I'm curious.
We haven't really had.
We lost you.
You're talking my ex, right?
Yeah. Is she remarried? What's going on there?
No, I don't think she is. But I'm not really interested in trying to reconcile, if that's what you're getting at.
I wasn't going to talk about that. I was just trying to get a picture. And why did she leave you? What was her reason?
It would take more than a minute to answer that, but
the quick answer.
My side, that's a very hard question to answer.
Okay, well, just better take a stab at it, since you went to the trouble to call us, and we want to help you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there was no sexual immorality on either side or anything like that. It was just probably never should have got married in the first place. I was willing to not get divorced and try and stay together.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes a difference. But I guess she just decided to call it quits and go her own way.
Okay. Well, and was she a believer with you or not?
I'm going to say I think she was.
Mm-hmm.
But do you ever know? I'm selfishly hoping she's not, because that gives me an out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, she certainly wasn't. She wasn't adhering to the faith in leaving and not having any kind of biblical justification for leaving there. So,
right.
You guys. I mean, I think that you are just. The fact that she just left you and you weren't unfaithful to her, and that's the reason she left.
Right. And if she's if she's out there dating and doing different things, that kind of opens up.
I don't know that she is. We're both older, so I don't know that she's dating. I am.
Right.
And that's kind of what's, that's what I'm asking that question. Am I still eligible?
I think you are, James, because God says it's not good for man to be alone as well. And a lot of these requirements for divorce are preventive, trying to get people to make it work. And yours already done. You were already out of the marriage, and
the vows have been broken.
The vows have been broken, so it's you make new vows.
Yeah, that's our thought. I think we're in agreement on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Wish we had more time to help you out there. I'll send you Take Your Life Back. Hope that'll be a blessing. If you can help us, would you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE? We'd sure appreciate your support. We love you. Hope you have a great day today. See you next time. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.